It's 3 in time for Money Box Live with Paul Lewis.
Hello. We've had 5 years of changes to the system of state benefits and tax credits, and that's left many confused about what help they can get and how they get it. Many things can trigger entitlement to help. Changes of circumstance like losing your job, the death of a partner, birth of a child, a cut in wages, the onset of illness, rent going up, or reaching pension age can all mean you're entitled to benefits, but which and how do you get them? And some continuing situations like low paid work or disability can mean there are benefits you can get. Others do claim but find they're not eligible, or their benefits changed or removed and they don't understand why. And of course many people on one benefit are now being transferred to another. Universal credit replaces 6 means-tested benefits in some parts of the country. Personal independence payment is replacing disability living allowance. And employment and support allowance and help with council tax have both changed radically over the last few years. So with all this change, how do you find out what you can get and how to get it? Well, one way is to call us, Moneybox Live, now on 03 700 100 444. With me today to answer your questions, Dr. Phil Agulnik is Director of entitledto.com. That's the website which works out entitlement to means-tested benefits. Phil, from your point of view, what are the issues at the moment?
Well, we don't get queries directly from members of the public, but in terms of the overall pattern of usage, it's about people with low earnings, working age, and often with high rents, finding that they can qualify for working tax credit and housing benefit and other entitlements that even if you're in work, you still qualify for.
And yes, I think, was it half the people on them are now actually in low-paid work rather than out of work?
That's right, something
big
like that.
Proportion. Will Hadwin is also with us. He's rights advisor at the charity Working Families. What are the issues at Working Families, Will?
Very similar. It all boils down to the cost of living. What happens frequently with our callers is that when they have a baby and they go on maternity leave, they discover that statutory maternity pay or maternity allowance is not enough to meet their costs, particularly their housing costs. And then, of course, when they want to go back to work, childcare costs can be a barrier as well.
And Jill Williams is here. She's a caseworker at the charity Independent Age. And I'm guessing, Jill, you deal with older people. What sort of queries do you get?
Yeah, that's correct. We get queries from people with regards to pension credit, for example, a benefit for older people, disability benefits for older people, carers allowance, how that affects themselves or their families.
OK, well, those are our 3 experts, and a top team it is. And our first question is from Mick, who's on his mobile and has got a question. Mick, your question.
Hi. Around 2008, my son was around 2 years old. We'd previously only been getting child benefit, as my wife and I both earned too much to get child tax credits. After one of the 6 monthly forms they sent us, we'd filled it in and duly sent it back. And they wrote to us and told us we were entitled to circa £590 a month. I then phoned them up, queried this, said, surely this can't be right. The woman on the end of the line said, well, if the figures are right, then it's right. So I said, OK, fine. About 3 years after that, they then wrote to us and said, you owe us £5,000. I challenged this and said, hang on a second, I queried this, you told me it was right, despite the fact of me telling you it was wrong. And they said, well, the figures weren't correct on the form. I did my own research into this. Now, even had my wife and I been earning nothing at all, we still wouldn't have been entitled by their own calculator, online calculator. We wouldn't have been entitled to anywhere near £590. And yet they still turned round and said, no, it's your fault, you have to pay the entire amount.
Mick, this is a sad, but I'm sorry to say, fairly familiar tale of mistakes with tax